Fortune to have amongst us His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj. Maharaj, brief introduction. Maharaj was born in New Jersey, USA in 1947. His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj came in contact with the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON in Denver, Colorado, at the age of 24. In 1973, he began practicing Krishna consciousness in New York City, and shortly thereafter began serving at New Rundavan Farm Community in West Virginia. He received initiation in 1973 from His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In 1986, he accepted the sannyas order and began preaching in Cincinnati and Columbus, Ohio. In the early 1990s, he became involved with the ISKCON prison ministry in America and began visiting inmates, holding programs along with writing letters to inmates and sending them Srila Prabhupada's books. His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj is now the leader of the ISKCON prison ministry and has worked tirelessly to document the spiritual progression of the worldwide inmate community. His dedication to the welfare, growth and sustainable rehabilitation of these prisoners has culminated in book Holy Jail, a touching compilation of the activities of the ISKCON prison ministry, IPM. In over 30 years of operation, the lives of hundreds of inmates have changed due to the practice of Krishna consciousness and the support received by devotees. In 1995, he began serving as the resident sannyasi in Chicago, where he is based today. At present, Chandramauli Swami Maharaj preaches in America, India, Western Europe, Slovenia, Croatia, Italy and the UK. He is an initiating spiritual master within the ISKCON society. So Maharaj has been regularly coming and inspiring all the devotees in Pune community. So let us welcome Maharaj to Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra temple by once loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai.
This same year that India got independence, 1947, is the same year I got dependence. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giri Vari Gopi Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giri Vari Yasodanandana Brajajananjaya Yasodanandana Brajajananjaya Jamuna Tira Heva Yahayunadi Jamuna Dhira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Jai Gopi Dhanavallabha Giri Varadhari Hare Jai Gopi Dhanavallabha Giri Varadhari Vidhanavallabha Giri Jasodanandana Rajadhananjasaram Yasodanandana Rajadhananjasaram Yamuna Dhira Yamuna Dhira Yamuna Dhira Yamuna Dhira Jai Radha Madhavam Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhavam Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the Tagore. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, the Tagore. And the Tagore, Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Bol, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Is it verse 17 or 18? 18? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 14, King Chitraketu's Lamentation. This is verse 18. Atmanam prakritushyadam nidayam shreya apnuyat rajnya tata prakritayo Naradeva hitadhyayaha Atmanam prakristvadam Nirdaya Shreya Apnuyat Rajgyatata Prakritayo Naradeva hitadhyayaha Atmanam prakritiswadham Anidaya Shreya Apnuyat Ragyatata Prakritayo Naradeva hitadhyayaham. Ladies? Anyone else? Atmanam, himself, Prakritisu, under the 7 royal elements. Adya, directly. Nidaya, placing. Sreya, ultimate happiness. Apnuyat, may obtain. Rajgya, by the king. Tata, so also. Prakritiya, the dependent royal elements. Naradeva, O king. Ahita adayaha, offering wealth in other items. ISKCON Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Marani ki jai, Gauda Nitai ki jai. So it's Agira Muni was giving some instructions to King Chitraketu after his son was killed, and now he's going through a very intense depression, lamentation. So the sage says, O king, O lord of humanity, when a king directly depends upon his associates and follows their instructions, he is happy. Similarly, when the associates offer their gifts and activities to the king and follows his orders, they are also happy. Srila Prabhupada's very short purport. The actual happiness of a king and his dependents is described in this verse. A king should not simply give orders to his dependents because he is supreme. Sometimes he must follow their instructions. Similarly, the dependent should depend on the king. The mutual dependence will make everyone happy. Om Gyantimidandasya Gyana Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya De Satarine Panchakalpa Tarubhischa Sindhu Paevacha Paditanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namahonu Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So nobody's happy because they don't follow this. The king doesn't follow, the dependents don't follow. And therefore all over the world there's so much strife. Because they elect a king or a president or head of state, prime minister, out of some sentiment. But because they are not trained, they're not qualified, they're not actually understanding what is the actual duty of a leader of a state. Prabhupada gives a nice example. He says the president, which means ultimately one who is in charge, the leader, should make sure and should enunciate legislation to make sure that every citizen is practicing spiritual life. Whether they follow a particular path, that is their choice. Whatever faith path they may decide to choose, they can do. But atheists are not allowed. Or those who claim to be, let me say, followers of materialism without any spiritual practice. And so this type of consciousness is pervasive all over the world today. And that's why there's so many problems. The leaders can't dictate to their citizens that the actual goal of life, as is explained, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. This is the real goal of life, and the only goal of life is to make an inquiry and to proceed to act on that inquiry to understand who is God and what my relationship. But now everything is secularized. And even in the secular arrangements, there's so many imperfections. You can't even find even a good secular arrangement anywhere in the world today. Because the leaders are so, unable to lead. It's mentioned in the Ramayana that there's 3 kinds of leaders. When decisions are necessary, they go to their ministers, the Kshatriyas ultimately, to the Brahmins, and get advice, practical advice, spiritual understanding to apply practical advice. And that is considered to be a first-class leader. One who takes advice from others. It's mentioned here also. It says not that the king should always take advice from the citizens, because sometimes the citizens are not qualified, but they should at least take advice from those who are qualified. And therefore there should always be a class of saintly persons to guide the royal order, the kingly order, in making decisions, but that's not there. The second class leader, he will sometimes consult others, such as the Brahmins and others, but if he doesn't like what they say, he rejects it. That's second class. So at least he consults. And if he approves what they say, then so he has his opinions on what should be done anyway. And if his opinions are supported by his advisors, then he follows. And the third class doesn't ask anyone any opinion, just does what they want. It doesn't matter. And that's pretty much today's rule. Ravana was at least second class. He wasn't first class. He would ask advice from his followers, his ministers and others. And if he liked the advice, then he would follow it. Otherwise, he wouldn't. So we see there's different types of persons who head up the different countries, different states, who have different ways of administering their rule. But the ideal rule is that the Kshatriyas are guided by the Brahmins. And here it also extends that principle that, and it's interesting, that a king should not simply give orders to his dependents because he's the king, but sometimes, the word sometimes must be emphasized, he must follow their instructions. Because no one, unless one is actually a pure devotee, can understand there are 4 characteristics that make up the conditioned souls. These characteristics are innate within the consciousness of those who are not on the level of pure devotion. And that is, they have a tendency to be illusioned. Based on illusion, they make mistakes. And based on those mistakes, they because their senses are imperfect, they make mistakes, and because of making mistakes, they try to cover their mistakes, which is called the cheating propensity. So illusion, imperfect senses, making mistakes, and cheating is the nature of the conditioned souls. But until one actually is on the pure platform of loving devotional service, they're free from these 4 inebrities, 4 defects. So one has to try to overcome these things by the process of bhakti and ultimately come to the stage of having what was called clear vision. Clear can also be spelled with a K, K-L-E-A-R, clear vision, which means Krishna vision. That's the real vision. One who, Krishna says, one who sees me everywhere and everything in me, I am never lost and he is never lost to me. And so the idea is not to be lost and not seeing Krishna, or actually seeing Krishna in everything and seeing everything in relationship to Krishna. One is actually acting on the platform of these 4 inebrities, which means makes mistakes. You know, like just this morning, I'm sitting there in my room and I'm just about ready to begin japa. And I'm looking all over for my japa beads and I can't find them. And they were hanging on my neck. No wonder I couldn't find them. So we make mistakes. You know? It's like it happens all the time. And somebody tells it, they introduce you to somebody and they tell you their name. Oh yes, nice name. Then 5 minutes later you can't remember what the name was. What's your name again? It's Das. I know it's Das, but we all have the same last name. So yeah. So, and what Angira Muni is saying here is that although you are in a position of leadership, don't think you're perfect. Don't think you're so qualified. You know, your qualifications comes by your dependence on the advice of others also. And so he's instructing the king what it means. But nowadays, where do we find this, and Prabhupada really kind of summarizes the whole relationship. This mutual dependence makes everyone happy. What is that happiness? That there's trust. There's trust. In other words, nowadays they make so many secret plans. Nobody knows what's going on in the world. What you read on the news and what you hear from the politicians is all just some kind of propaganda just to get you to believe in a certain way. But behind the scenes they have a whole another agenda that's going on. And then you learn about that later as so many problems come out because of their policies. No, this is the way, this is Kali Yuga. So we want Raj Ram. But then again, where is that leader? And then therefore Prabhupada said, in our ISKCON society we should create a class of devotees, ideal Brahmins, ideal Kshatriyas, ideal Vaishyas. Ideal means they are engaged in devotional service, although they're carrying out the activities of the social environment according to the needs of society, but still they're Krishna conscious, or they're engaged in devotional service. Right after the battle of Kurukshetra, when the Pandavas had taken the throne and King Yudhisthira had now been in the position of the emperor of the world, King Yudhisthira wanted to open up his door to all of the citizens, to give them a chance to hear from them directly. This is mentioned in the Mahabharata. And he made an open door policy that anyone can come anytime and speak to the king. And so he stationed himself in his palace, and he had Bhima as his secretary in the outer room, meeting the people as they were coming. So this was right after the battle of Kurukshetra. And so one person came, and he said to Bhima, "Oh Bhima, I got to see Yudhisthira. I have this problem, and I need some explanation." Well, Bhima said, "Well, I think right now he's busy, so maybe you can tell me, I can help you." All right. So I decided to make a garden. And I got all of the necessary ingredients, the seeds, nice shrubbery, some flowers, trees, planted trees, cultivated the ground so nice, planted it so nicely, had pathways. I made this beautiful garden. I was so proud of the garden. But then I was thinking, I have to protect the garden. So I decided to build a wall around the garden. I took some time and I built this nice big wall all the way around the garden. And when I was done, I was thinking, now the garden is protected. But then, right after that, not long after I finished making the wall encroached on the garden and started destroying the garden. I built this wall to protect the garden, and now the wall is destroying the garden. So I need an explanation. Bhima said, "I think you should go in and see Yudhisthira." Okay. Too tough for me, that question. So a second man comes, and he comes, "Oh, Bhima, this is not a big problem, but I thought I'd get the advice of Yudhisthira." "Well, Yudhisthira is busy. You can ask me." "Okay, Bhima." He said, "Well, I was just experimenting. I got a big bucket of water, and I filled it all the way up to the very top. And then I started to take I was taking the water and putting in different cups. So I filled 5 large cups with all the water in the bucket. The bucket was empty, 5 cups held all the water. Then I thought, I'll put the water back. And when I put the water back, the bucket was only half filled. I started with full bucket, filled 5 cups, didn't spill any water, put it all back, and the bucket's only half filled. What's the explanation? I think you better go see Yudhisthira. Third man comes. Oh, Bhima, I saw something I can't believe. I can't even imagine this could ever happen, but I saw it, I know. I need an explanation. Can you help me? Yeah. What is it? Well, I saw this big elephant. He was big, and he was walking and walking, and he was heading right big towards this big stone wall, big thick wall, and he's going right up to the wall, and he's crashing into the wall. He goes through the wall breaks, and he gets all the way through, but his little tail gets stuck. You know, those tails on the elephants, they're kind of small. What is that? Bhima said, maybe you should go see Yudhisthira. So fourth man comes. Bhima, something amazing happened. I want some explanation. Can I see Yudhisthira? Well, I'm sure he's busy. There's other people coming. But you can tell me. So far I haven't been successful. He was thinking like that. And he said, all right, well, I decided to go into an area I'd never been before. I just wanted to explore another area of the world, so I just started walking in one direction. And I was just walking, someplace I'd never been before. And I was just going, walking. And as I was walking, I noticed things were changing. The environment was changing, and it was becoming more and more mountains, and then there was rocks. And then as I continued to walk, then I noticed everything started to get dark, and it became really dark, and I saw these big mountains everywhere, and then I looked, and all the mountains were everywhere around me. Then I looked, and I got really frightened. Where am I? So I thought, I have to get out of here. So I just decided to run, and I didn't even know which direction to run in, but I started to run. So I was running, and as I was running, I looked down on the ground, and I saw coming out of the rocks from the ground, there was this beautiful green creeper that was growing out. So I decided to pull it. And when I pulled it up, all of a sudden, all the rocks, all the mountains, all the darkness was gone, the sun was out, and I was feeling really happy. What's the explanation? I think you better go see Yudhisthira. So now Bhima comes and he walks into the room, and Yudhisthira's there. And there's nobody there, just Yudhisthira. So Bhima said, my dear Yudhisthira, did you meet those 4 men? Yudhisthira said, what 4 men? I didn't see any 4 men. Oh, those 4 men. They represent Kali Yuga. And Krishna has left the planet, and now Kali Yuga is coming in full force. Bhima said, can you give the answers to their stories? Yes. He said, this is sad. The man with the garden and the wall, the citizens of the state will elect their leaders to protect them, but the leaders will destroy the citizens. You build a nice garden, and you build a wall to protect the garden, the wall destroys the garden. Kali Yuga, the leaders will destroy the citizens, or at least try to get as much money from the citizens as possible. Maybe that's not so true in India, but go around the world, taxes are just unbelievable. And people are paying so high prices for everything. Right now, it's an economic world crisis that's going on. It's really quite severe, and it's getting worse. People's food prices have tripled, quadrupled in the last year. And heating prices, inflation, scarcity. It's happening in many major countries. So yeah, this is what happens when you have unqualified leaders. They destroy the citizens. The second man, with the buckets and the 5 cups, Yudhisthira says, yes, this is very unfortunate also. Children, parents will give time, care, love, and do whatever they can to take care of their children. The children will not appreciate their parents. You start with a full bucket, and you only get half. Kali Yuga. The third one, the elephant and the wall. Yes, Yudhisthira said, if you have wealth, you can buy justice. That happens today too. Doesn't matter what crime you have, you can do. You got some money, you can buy your way out. It's like that everywhere. I even know people who do that, who are big, powerful people who, commit crimes, and they have their lawyers, and they pay, and the lawyers get them out all the time. So that little tail that got stuck, that's the poor man. The poor man, because he doesn't have money, doesn't have finance, if he gets in trouble, he wounds up suffering, because then even if he's innocent, and I've seen that also when I preach in jail, sometimes people are in there and they haven't committed the crime, or they've been set up for the crime, and because they don't have money or the proper legal, they're suffering unnecessarily, apparently anyway. And the last man, the man who was walking, that green creeper, it's the holy name. It's the holy name. So despite all the darkness and difficulties in the age of Kali, there is one bright light. Kaler doshanidhi rajana asti eko mahagun kirtana eva krishnasya mukta sangam param bhajadya. In this age, that one bright light, and it is bright, it's very bright. In fact, it can dissipate darkness everywhere and anywhere, is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So, as devotees, we can be free from all of the effects of Kali Yuga, and also at the same time ultimately achieve the goal of life by purifying ourselves through the chanting of the holy name. That chanting is so powerful and so direct, it's Krishna himself in sound. But devotees, although we chant, sometimes we don't take it seriously. We have so many services, and services must go on, but we should also understand that the most important part of our day is to chant the holy names of the Lord. It's the foundation by which everything becomes wonderful. No matter what your material situation is, if you're chanting the holy names of the Lord, and you're actually chanting with attention, and as best as you can, with as much attraction or affection for the Lord, you're happy. And you're not bothered so much by the onslaughts of the material energy, which come constantly by way of the age of Kali, just the way it is. So, and we have to chant nicely, not only just, Prabhupada said, not like Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Not like that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Now, I've been traveling a lot lately. I was asked to speak about this one point today, and I will, so don't get too upset. But I've been traveling a lot, and I go to a lot of kirtans, basically kirtan melas and festivals, and just generally kirtans. And I'm noticing that in our chanting, we're not chanting the proper syllables of the name in the kirtan. we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo, Hare Hare. So who's Ramo? He's the guy who comes to make pizza, right? Mr. Ramo from Italy. Srila Prabhupada, when he saw one of his disciples, and it was Vishnujan Maharaj, he was probably the prominent kirtan leader at the time, he started chanting Ramo. And Prabhupada said, who is this Ramo? That's what Prabhupada said. Where did you get that from? He said, immediately stop it. It is Rama. Look at how Swami Maharaj explains the Maha Mantra very nicely in his book when he describes how on the pronunciation. And he says that A in Rama should be, it's called guttural. It's pulled in. It's not like Rama. It's Rama. Rama. Pull it in. A Rama. Not Rama. Rama is the goddess of fortune. Krishna is Draupadi. It's Krishna. So proper pronunciation, Prabhupada mentions that in one verse. And he really got strong on Vishnu Jan Swami. He said, if this continues, it will ruin our entire society. So we have to be careful, especially in kirtans. We see devotees have a tendency, because I listen, and then I hear sometimes, many times, devotees chant Ramo. For whatever reason, it's easier, maybe, or seems to be more of an emphasis. If you want to put emphasis on A, you can't so much, especially on that one. But you can put emphasis on O. So you can, Ramo. But it's not Ramo, it's Rama. And so Prabhupada, it's written too. And there was an article printed by a few devotees. I remember when I was in Mayapur, I was leading the Mangal Arti. And there was one lady there. She was making sure everyone chanted Rama. Now, in Bengal, that's hard. Practically impossible. But she was there making sure, and if anybody chanted Ramo, she would let them know. And she was heavy. Really heavy. Why are you chanting Ramo? It's Rama, you know. So I was leading the Mangal Arti. And then I finished and I was walking and she's heading right towards me. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get it now. So she came all the way up to me and she said, Maharaj, thank you for chanting Rama. So I thought, oh, whew, that was, at least I pleased her anyway. So that's the thing. This is really an interesting, not interesting, it's a problem. Everywhere you go in the world now, even those who lead the kirtans are chanting Ramo. Not always. Sometimes they say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The O's and the A's are interchangeable sometimes. So there's different versions of this, but chanting the name right is important. Because Prabhupada makes that point. There's one verse, you can look it up in the Adi Leela, it's chapter 17, I think it's verse number 74. That's not it. Verse number 32. Prabhupada says, he gets into the whole idea of explaining how one should sound the letters on the mantra so it's clear. So it's very important. And clear chanting makes it easier for you to concentrate. Like some people have come up to me lately and says, should we chant, when we chant the Maha Mantra, should we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I said, no, it's Hare Rama. A lot of devotees chant Hare Ram. And Prabhupada, you can even hear Prabhupada, he also chants Hare Ram. But there is, the actual Maha Mantra contains 32 syllables. So it's Rama. So I said, you should chant Rama. And so devotees who I've been speaking to, they come back to me, they say, my chanting is better, but it's slower. Takes me longer, but it's nicer now, since I've been chanting Rama. So it'll slow you down, there's no question, because you can go faster with Ram. But when you chant, you can also, if you practice chanting Rama, clearly, both in Kirtan and in Japa, you really have a taste for that chant. The chanting becomes nice because it's clear. And clear chanting is absolute chanting. And it helps for concentration. It makes you also think, when you're chanting, how that you should sound the names very carefully. And Prabhupada also, probably if you can hear one particular lecture, Prabhupada's, he's chiding everybody and making fun of how the devotees chant. It's not that this is just, Prabhupada really wanted devotees to chant clearly and nicely because it is Krishna's name, it's Rama's name, so it should be done that way. And so I was asked to speak about this as I was speaking to the devotees just before class yesterday. And so I think it's important that we become very conscious at how we pronounce. And as I said, Lokanath Swami Maharaj has written this book. Probably you have seen it. I don't remember the name. It came out in Sanskritam Ucharanam. Yeah. And he goes through all of the different, pronunciations, just like when sometimes we chant Hare Hara, it's supposed to be Hare Haraye. Sometimes devotees chant Hare Hara, Hare Hara. And what is Hara? It's Shiva. All glories to Lord Shiva. And then Bande Guroshi Charanarvindam, Nan Bande Gurushi. What is it? Guru? What was it? Prabhupada, Guru is Guru. Prabhupada said, one time the devotees were chanting like that, and Prabhupada said, I know you're trying, but please don't call your spiritual master a cow. Guru, It's on record, you can hear Prabhupada speak that. So Lokanath Swami is interesting. He has a little caricature where there's a cow sitting on a Vyasasan, and you've seen the book, right? And the devotees are chanting and offering puja to the cow. Well, of course, that's nice. We offer puja to the cow too. But not at that particular time when there's Guru Vandanam. So, and then there's Maharaj, really, this book is really important. He goes through and just like Gadadhar, sometimes Gadadhar. It's Gadadhar, not Gadadhar. So, there's so many. Of course, then you might say, well, we know that Krishna is Bhavahi Janardana, right? Bhavagrahi Janardana. He takes what you mean rather than what you say. But still, the spiritual master is instructing us that we should do it this way. So therefore we should follow the instructions of the spiritual master. As far as, of course, in India, people know Sanskrit because Sanskrit is actually, in Hindi, it's very similar. So the pronunciation's here, but I notice when I travel around the world, I'm not sure what language they're chanting. It's another world. It's a combination of Chinese and Hindi together. It's Chindies or something. So, it's humorous, but But people who have some intelligence, who understand, they would think, where did you learn that? Where'd you learn how to speak? So, especially for the Maha Mantra particularly, and it's Mamam, and of course, Lokanath Swami mentions this, it's Hare Krishna, it's not Hare Krishna. Sometimes devotees saying Hare Krishna. There's no D in that letter. It's Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. When you pronounce it nicely, even one mantra, it's just like, wow, it's so nice. It's beautiful. It sounds so we should be very much conscious that we're pronouncing things carefully. And I know when sometimes we get in the mood of trying to finish our rounds, and when we do, we push the letters together and then the chanting. But when clear chanting is actually nice. Even if it takes you longer to chant, you'll feel the difference in the quality of your japa when you chant clearly. And Krishna will be happy. Prabhupada will definitely be happy like that. Okay, so I don't want to take up too much time. Any questions about leadership or something similar to that? What is the actual quality of a leader, and how the leader is not simply a leader, but he is also one who is dependent on others in order for him to lead. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Maharaj, thank you so much for wonderful describing about pronunciations of the Mahamantra and also how to take care in the Kirtan. My question is sometimes you would have some natural problems for pronunciation. Some tongues are very thick.
Yeah.
Pronunciation like Bengal or some western part of the world.
China.
So, how should we take care that it's pronounced properly?
Just
And
try.
I also heard one thing, just last part. When we sing in the ragas and all the things, then the words also get like in a video alap and all those things currently they do in the kirtans. Is that good then?
What is that word?
Alap means they go for long.
We hold it longly. We hold. Oh, he's good. Sign him up, yeah. We got a program tonight. He's going to be our kirtan leader. Prabhupada didn't like that either. It's actually, when you say it, you should just say, it says that this is from the Shrutis. The Shrutis say that the Lord actually appears on the last syllable of the word of his name. He appears within the heart and mind at the last syllable. This is in the Shrutis. So it's Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when you sing, sometimes there's a little emphasis, but don't, carry it on for like 10 minutes. Just, sometimes there's a little embellishments in the mood of the melody, but those embellishments also should be done properly and not just some kind of extension where you're trying to impress yourself or you're trying to impress others. So chanting really depends on hearing. If you're hearing nicely, you'll chant nicely. So the hearing process is the most important because it makes everything easier or clearer. So those who have problems should practice hearing. Hearing from others, hearing the tapes, like that. It's very important, yes.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the wonderful class. You were talking about this chant. When we chant, then we have to chant with attention, and then you also said we should also chant with affection.
Well, try.
So can you just little bit elaborate on that? Like
What is
chanting with affection.
the affection? Prabhupada said two things about chanting that he emphasized. He said, the mood of chanting is like a child crying for his mother. So what is that mood? That mood is helplessness. We are helpless, there's no question about it. We're here in this material world, and the material energy is very powerful. So unless we really take shelter of Krishna, and to do that we have to be really wanting that shelter. So this mood of helplessness helps to develop the mood of calling, that I'm really dependent on your mercy, Lord. So it's a state of consciousness. It's not necessarily an expression in sound, it's more a state of consciousness, that I'm really dependent on you. So sometimes we say we should chant not simply from the mind, but from the heart. That means with emotion. With emotion. And not just to get the rounds done. So being helpless, or understanding our position as helplessness, helps us to really become more and more dependent on Krishna when we chant the holy name. And when you're hearing nicely, then it becomes just you and the name, and there's nothing else. And then it becomes more and more natural to offer your emotion, your love, your devotion.
So Maharaj, that helpless mood, when somebody is chanting, with the intention to take shelter of the Lord, understanding his helpless situation,
Yeah.
taking shelter of the Lord. So that is affection or something more also.
It's an indication that I really need your shelter. Without you, well, just like Bilbamanda Thakur says, my dear Lord, with your mercy, what is the use of others' mercy? And without your mercy, what is the use of others' mercy? So he only wants the mercy of the Lord, no one else's mercy. Of course, the mercy of the Lord comes through the mercy of the spiritual master. But what he's saying, he doesn't look anything, if Krishna is not giving his mercy, then there's no other place I'm going. What is that? Chitaka bird? Chitaka bird will be a bird that drinks water directly from the cloud. And the bird will fly near the cloud, waiting for the cloud to burst the water. But if the cloud doesn't, the bird won't go somewhere else for water. It'll only want to get water from that cloud. So in that understanding, we're looking for that mercy that's coming from the source of mercy, Krishna, and nowhere else. Because material energy will offer you something that looks like mercy. But it's just to distract you away from. Just like you feel bad and you're not getting the mercy, let me go watch a movie. Forget about getting the mercy. So you just occupy yourself with something to fill your spiritual void. But then it just makes the void deeper. Okay? Yes? There's a question in the back. We have a question all the way in the back. That gentleman had his hand up. Yeah. All the way in the back there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the class. I was thinking about this question, at some place Krishna Das Goswami Maharaj in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he was telling to chant constantly. So at some times, like when you are hearing Bhagavatam or we are reading some books or some other sevas where we need full concentration. So at that time, like Bhagavatam, should we chant?
That's chanting. That's chanting constantly. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, if you're reading Bhagavatam, you're chanting the glories of the Lord.
No, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Oh, that too.
You can chant simultaneously.
No. Do one or the other, but both are absolute. Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna in sound vibration. The words of Bhagavatam they're completely spiritual. They're not material. So when you're reading or hearing or chanting Bhagavatam, you're chanting. And when you're chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you're also chanting. So we should do both. It's simultaneously one and different. But you're glorifying the Lord when you are absorbed in Bhagavatam also.
And whatever other sevas, like suppose you are studying or something, we need topmost concentration at that time, so we can't chant. I'm just asking.
Well, make time for both, right? You can do that. Some devotees are more intellectual and they would like to spend more time on reading. And other devotees are more inclined to chant. So it's just, but neither one is better than the other. It's just their inclination to glorifying the Lord in a certain way, that's all. That's fine. So some of us are more inclined for philosophy and others more inclined to chant. And there's others who are more inclined to just do service. But there should be a balance. That's the point.
Thank you.
Okay, this gentleman in the back there, all the way by Prabhupada's Vyasa-san. So if you're reading Bhagavatam, that's nice. That's wonderful. That's recommended.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the wonderful class. Maharaj, my question is that you spoke about the ucharan, the pronunciation of the holy name. So what should be the time limit to chant one round? Normally we take 7.5 minutes to chant with proper pronunciation. So that's...
Well, it's hard to put a time limit, although I've seen some senior devotees speak in that way. They say you should finish one round between 7 and 8 minutes. That's what they say. That means if you're hearing nicely, you won't go farther than 7.5, 8 minutes. And when you're really hearing, it'll be 6, 6.5. And if you're absorbed, it'll be even less. The more you're hearing, the more your concentration is there, and the faster your chanting will go. It's all depending on concentration. You can try to go fast, but if you're not able to concentrate, it's still going to take you long. It's concentration that makes up the speed. So try to hear nicely.
Yes. And Maharaj,
so you can gauge yourself on how good you're hearing by how long it takes to chant one round.
Thank you, Maharaj. And Maharaj, I have another question. Like sometimes when we have festivals, so we have a lot of physical engagement, and we also have to complete our rounds. So in that time when you're chanting, the body demands rest. It's a little tired. So when you're chanting, there are a lot of chances where the pronunciation goes down. So that means we are not chanting properly. So in that situation, what's the best thing we can do so that we chant it in the right way?
Well, if you have festivals, then you should think, I'm going to be engaged all day in doing these activities. Let me get up early and spend quality time chanting before I begin my services. So get up early and spend time. And I would also say from my own experience that if you complete your 16 rounds before you take breakfast, or even before Darshan Arti, you'll find that the quality of your Krishna consciousness will blossom. You'll feel more happier and you'll feel more empowered in your service. Early rounds are the best rounds.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Haribol.
Okay, anything else? Yes. We have one lady also. There's one lady over there also. So after, to the ladies after you're done.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Nandut Pranav. Sorry, I'm joining the Bhagavatam late, but I'm asking this question because you are familiar with the jail preaching and all. I'm having a brother, he's very inclined to the drunk and all the bad habits. And he's
You don't
with
get
me,
all of the what?
all the bad habits.
You have bad habits? Is that what you're saying?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I am having a brother. He is favorable to the ISKCON. He is very good at hurt, wherein he is not in drunken condition. And he is attached to all the badly habit, whatever we can think. He is with me from last 25 days near to the temple. I mostly bring him to the temple also. He is favorable. He come to the temple. But I just want to ask you that you are familiar with the jail preaching. My question is that how we can approach that person that he can easily give up these things.
Well, people are convinced in different ways. A lot of times people are convinced that they're doing the wrong thing when they suffer. But that's the last resort. Intelligence is the feature by which one can make solutions to all problems. So by giving them the intelligence they need, or helping them to understand from an intelligent point of view, that what they're doing is harmful to themselves. Well, it depends on you. What is your relationship with that person and how much they're willing to accept whatever you say. But just like we give classes and we preach, and a lot of times we know that although we're saying so many things, people don't change. Some people change. Some people change a little, some people hardly ever change, and some people never change. It's just the individual conditioned, the more conditions. Because bad habits are what they are. It's a habit. Habit's second nature. Habits come by constantly doing the same thing over and over again, and they become part of your character, part of your personality. So habit is changed by habit. Just like we say, if you're eating the wrong thing, stop it and eat the right thing, and then after a while you'll start to enjoy eating the right thing and you'll give up eating the wrong thing. So you have to somehow slowly and carefully give them something as an alternative. Just like Prabhupada tells the story of the thief. The thief, he became a devotee, and now he's in the ashram with the devotees, but he still has that tendency to thieve. But now he's a devotee and he knows his thievery is wrong. But he can't help it because he's so conditioned to thievery. So what he does is he takes, rather than stealing people's stuff, he just takes it from one place and puts it in some other place. He doesn't steal, he just moves things around. So just to satisfy that desire to take something. So conditioned nature can be so deep that even when you come to Krishna consciousness, those conditions are still there. But by practicing Krishna consciousness and hearing what is right, hopefully you give up and you replace it with good habits. So 25 days is not enough. You have to make it 25 months minimum. So give them some time. And you have to be very tolerant of their wrong ways of doing things. But it takes time to change a person. And if they have trust in you, if they have confidence in you, if they like you, it becomes easier. If they don't, then it becomes very difficult. Yeah. Okay, Mataji? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Nice and loud.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
I got that first part.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So my question is, as per Shastras, king should listen to his subjects, that is his people. But what if people are not qualified? Or say, what if their suggestions are not worth of considering? What should king do this in this situation?
Did anybody hear the question? Yeah, that's what it says here. Sometimes he must follow and sometimes he must not. So at least he should take advice. That's what is being said here. So ultimately, ideally for the king or a leader of a state, he should have a set of ministers who he takes advice from. If he doesn't, then he has to discriminate, getting advice from the citizens, whether he should take it or not. And pretty much his own good judgment will make the difference. But it's not that he should follow their instructions always. But if there's some wise statement, I'll give you an example of how Vibhishan tricked Ravana. He tricked Ravana. So he was doing some worship of Ram in the kingdom. And then Ravana came and caught him worshipping Ram. And he was chanting, he was writing the name of Ram and putting it in different places around his place of worship. So Ravana got really angry. You know, you're siding with my enemy, and he was really chastising, really heavy. And Vibhishan said, my dear brother, you don't understand. This R-A-M-A, R-A stands for you, and M-A stands for Mandodari. So R-A-M-A is you and your wife, Mandodari. Ravana said, very good, put it everywhere. You know? Then he put Ram's name everywhere. So yeah. So you have to trick the king sometimes. When the king is not in sound condition. So it's not always, some discrimination is there. So I would say, to answer your question, if they get advice from the citizens, they should check that advice with others who are more learned, more understanding. This person has given me this advice. I'm not sure if I should act on it or not. What do you think? So, and that's the way Krishna consciousness works. If we always make our own decisions, a lot of times we find ourselves in trouble or making. It's nice to, ask devotees when we're making decisions. Lord Chaitanya did that when he wanted to travel out of Navadvip. No, when he wanted to travel out of Jagannath Puri and go to South India, he asked permission from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, from Ramananda Roy and others. And they refused to give him the permission, and he stayed. He said it's time for the Rath Yatra coming, you should stay for the Rath Yatra season. So he agreed. He postponed his desire to travel. And then when the Rath Yatra was over, he asked again, and they said, no, actually it's not a good time for traveling. So they were trying to keep him there by telling him no. But the Lord at least followed the principle that he was asking advice when it comes to what we say important decisions. It's not that you have to ask advice on everything, but on important decisions where, just like when it comes to marriage or when it comes to, making a change in your service, something. It's good to get advice from others just to hear, maybe abroad. That happened to me. I'll tell you my personal story. It's interesting. I was running a preaching center in one city in America. And I had taken sannyas just recently, before that. So then, it was advised that I go out traveling and preaching because that is the service of a sannyasi. But then I was taking care of the preaching center. I was, I was doing the whole operation. So it was contrary. Should I stay and do the preaching center or should I go out? And so I didn't know what to do. Because if I left the preaching center, I was trying to find someone to take over the responsibility, but I couldn't find anyone. So the preaching center would have went down or eventually closed. So I didn't know what to do. So I was asking the senior devotees who I knew, and some were saying, stay, it's important, people are coming, what will happen if you close it? Others were saying, no, it's your duty, sannyas, go out and preach. So I was getting contrary advice. And so I was thinking, I think you have to keep getting that advice until you hear Krishna's coming through the person who gives the advice. Look for that voice of Krishna. That's what I was looking for. So one day I came to see Bhakti Tirtha Swami in his room in Washington, D.C., and I presented my dilemma to him. And he really, very powerfully and very directly, he just waved his hand in the air and said, go out and preach. I got it. It was clear. There was nothing, and I didn't need to ask anything else. I had gotten the advice I was looking for. But I went through that process of asking different people until I actually heard that voice that convinced me that this was the right thing to do. So this is a process that, in important decisions, it's not like you have to ask people what color sari should I wear today. That's not so important. Or what prasadam should I eat today? No, it's not like that. It's the decisions that are really going to make a difference in your life. These things it's good to get consultation, advice. And you can take it, or not, or you can even hear it and then also ask others about the same advice. So kings should do that. Even though hearing from the citizens, still maybe going to his ministers and others who are more qualified to give advice for some confirmation or for some rejection, either one. Is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj. Maharaj, the king also has his own Vivek Buddhi. He also has his own suggestions and decisions. And he also gets suggestions and decisions from his ministry. So what should be prioritized?
Yeah, evaluation. You hear, you evaluate, you understand, you try to understand the situation. And the last thing is depend on Krishna, which is the ultimate principle of success. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay, so we can stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam
नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् यशोदाभियोलुखलाधवमानं परामृष्टमत्यन्ततो द्रुतगोप्या यशोदाभियोलुखलाधवमानं परामृष्टमत्यन्ततो द्रुतगोप्या रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रं युग्मं मृजन्तं कराम्भोजयुगमेन सातङ्कनेत्रं रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रं युग्मं मृजन्तं कराम्भोजयुगमेन मुहुश्वासकम्पात्रिरेखङ्ककण्ठ स्थितग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिबद्धम् मुहुश्वासकम्पात्रिरेखङ्ककण्ठ स्थितग्रैवं दामोदरम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यापयन्तम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तम् तदीयेषितागेषु भक्तर्जिता त्वं पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सतावृत्ति वन्दे तदीयेषितागेषु भक्तर्जिता त्वं पुनः वरं देव मोक्षं न मोक्षं वधिं वा न क्षणं वृणेऽहं वरेषदपिह वरं देव मोक्षं न मोक्षं वधिं वा न क्षणं वृणेऽहं वरेषदपिह इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्या विरास्तं किमन्ये इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे इदं ते मुखं भोजम् अत्यन्तनीलय वृतं कुन्तलय स्निग्धरक्तश्च गोप्या इदं ते मुखं भोजम् अत्यन्तनीलय वृतं कुन्तलय स्निग्धरक्तश्च मोहश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तधरं मे मनस्य विरास्तामलं लक्षलभे मोहश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तधरं मे नमो देव दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसिद्ध प्रभो दुःखजालभिमग्नं नमो देव दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसिद्ध प्रभो दुःखजालभिमग्नं कृपादृष्टिवृष्ट्यति दीनं बतानो गृहानेश मामाज्ञमेद्य छिद्रेश कृपादृष्टिवृष्ट्यति दीनं बतानो गृहानेश मामाज्ञम् कुबेरात्मजो बद्धमूर्ते वयद्वा त्वया मोचितो भक्तिभाजो कृतौ च कुबेरात्मजो बद्धमूर्ते वयद्वा त्वया मोचितो भक्तिभाजो कृतौ तथा प्रेम भक्ति स्वकाम्य प्रयच्छ न मोक्ष ग्रहो मेस्ति दामोदरेह तथा प्रेम भक्ति स्वकाम्य प्रयच्छ नमस्तेस्तु धाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोधरायाथ विश्वशधाम्ने नमस्तेस्तु धाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथ विष्णु नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवय तुभ्यं नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवय तुभ्यं नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानं नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानं हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र श्री राधे जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र जय गौर निताय गौर निताय शिष गौर निताय जय गौर निताय जय गौर जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव जय श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की जय। To the Supreme Lord. To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose socks and earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm, of Gokula, who due to offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in the fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been